Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Yes.
And I'm Daniel.
And this is part 2 of our Daredevil discussion. Daredevil in the media. We talked about last week, the 2003 Daredevil movie. And now we're going to be talking about season 1 of the Daredevil Netflix show that came out in 2015. And for myself, this was the first time I've ever seen it. I think I've seen clips here or there, and I liked it. And I think now is the appropriate time to be making comparisons to the show and then what the movie did. Because last week, we try to have it at least in the spectrum of that's what they had at the time. But now it's fair to compare the two, even though it's not really a comparison. This one's a lot better. But as for my first viewing, I liked it. And what do you guys think of season 1? At least this is about season 1 only.
I thought it was really good. I mean, me and Daniel saw it when it came out on Netflix.
Yes,
So
I remember.
I always liked it, and rewatching it, kind of know why I liked it in the first place. It was nice going back and watching it.
This is one of those seasons I could always go back and always enjoy it. I feel like I would never get tired of it.
Especially the first two episodes, too. I love the first two episodes.
Yes, particularly the first one. I've always loved that episode, everything about it. Just a great start to the series.
Right, and I think it feels contained, the series, and I know they make references, or at least this season, and they make references to the Avengers, and I almost wish that this was its own universe. I don't know how you guys feel about that, because it is so jarring, the amount of violence that is in the show and how dark it is, and there's nothing wrong with it taking itself seriously, but this is in the universe of the MCU, and it's just a tonal whiplash. If you watch this, and then you watch Avengers Age of Ultron, and it's just people quipping like crazy.
So a couple of things with that comment.
Yes.
I can agree with what you're saying, but you have to remember when this came out. This came out in it was developed in 2014, came out in 2015. This is before, I think it came out before Age of Ultron. So this is way before.
Well, my point still
tonal
stands with the
whiplash.
Avengers. The first Avengers
Yes.
also.
But I'm just saying it wasn't as bad as it was now. To me, it didn't feel as much of a whiplash compared to now, where now it feels...
Really? I felt like this was just really violent, and the MCU was never violent. So I kind of wish it was its own thing.
I think that has more to do with the fact it's on Netflix, so they had to start, it's on Netflix, we have to start adding a little more violence, a little nip slip for care.
Well, not even that, too. Well, I don't think I have to say spoilers, but there's many scenes where Kingpin crushes a guy's skull up against a car, and then he sees skull fragments.
Daredevil, I think that was because on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, they don't have to. Even if it's on Netflix, they don't have to. But I just feel like it doesn't fit in the universe of the MCU. This is fine as its own thing. And
I feel very old saying this came out. It actually came out
10
over
years
10
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
It feels kind of crazy to say that, but I think
God.
the time was just different. Netflix, I think they just were on the verge, not on the verge, but they were in the beginning phase of making their own show. So I think having things be violence, like would it be on HBO Max? I think that was
That's
more
what
along the
they're
lines of what.
thinking.
That's my
I
theory.
guess, but I think what's always in the back of my mind too is, and this is not a slight at the show, it's whenever there's these super big events, like when Hell's Kitchen gets blown up at certain parts, it makes you wonder, where are the Avengers?
Well, I mean,
Tony Stark? I mean,
I don't think they're going to deal with some bombing in some bad neighborhood in New York City.
I don't know, Craig.
They're
That's
worried about
pretty extreme. The bombs going off.
Yes, but I don't think it's bad. But you have to remember, the show is more grounded too. That's why it seems so much worse. The Avengers aren't going to storm in and they take
That'd
out
be
Hydra.
so funny.
They take out
Yeah.
Ultron.
It'd be
They
funny
take out.
if Iron Man
it
comes
seems-
in and just
yeah.
blasts all those people, the traffickers.
No, imagine it's like Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk come charging in. Because sure, you get sending Cap, but that's a little too realistic. Cap it's more on his level. Like sending Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, Vision.
Dude, that'd be
Overkill.
terrifying. You're just a degenerate trafficker with guns, and then Thor, Iron Man, and Vision just show up and just ruin everything.
And because it's like M-rated too, you could have them like liquefy people. Like Thor
Yeah,
throws his
they-
hammer.
they
it's
will
like the
show-
guy just
They'll
like
show
blows up.
Vision use his lower density, just stick his hands into people's chests and rip their hearts out.
Jesus.
I wouldn't put it past Netflix to do that if it was whatever MA rated. I'll tell you
imagine
what
if,
some stuff I didn't like, and it's very little.
Well, I want
But
to,
I
if you're
did
talking
like
about
the
what you didn't
show.
like,
Oh
I
yes.
want to mention I don't really like the excessive gore either, where I feel like they were, again, like you're saying, or at least I was saying, because it's on Netflix, they were trying to be different than regular TV, so that's why they had all the gore and all the excessive violence at times.
It
Can't say I
seems
was a
like,
fan of
yeah,
that.
you know how we make fun of the people who are fans of Zack Snyder's, I want to
Yeah.
say grittiness, but it's that excessive violence. I felt like they were pandering to that crowd, where it's like, yeah, skull fragments. Yeah, he just killed that guy with the car door. We saw it. It felt gratuitous at points. And it wasn't distracting, but I don't know.
Well, it's more like there's always have to be blood
Yeah.
everywhere. People are always bleeding. There's like, I
Yeah.
gotta show the open wound bleeding out.
Yeah, we
Well,
saw that one guy stick his face into that giant shard poking out of a fence. I was like, oh my
or
god.
or they're showing the backstory for the Russian brothers, and they use the
They
man's
ripped the guard's
ribs,
ribs out.
rib bones to escape, and they're showing
Yeah.
them break it out of the. You don't need to show that.
I think implied violence is always more terrifying, at least in certain shows and movies. Because I think I don't want to talk about The Dark Knight, but I think there's a lot of implied violence in that movie. And I don't know, I find that sometimes better. This was just like Zack Snyder going crazy with some of the violence. It didn't take away from the show. It was just a little distracting, I felt like.
I mean,
Just-
except yeah, I don't like it. So
Yeah. So some things I didn't like, and it's mostly just some flashbacks that I just could not stand, especially stuff with Matt and Foggy when they're having flashbacks to their college days. I feel like you don't need to show that at all because throughout the series you see how good of friends they are, and it just kind of felt like they were just shoehorning it and explaining it to dummies that they were really good friends. I felt like that was everyone would know that up until that point because I think it was episode 11, 12
yes,
when
towards
Foggy
the end.
finds out Matt is Daredevil. Just a little nitpick. I thought it was unnecessary.
I mean, sure, some of the scenes, but I don't know. Maybe seeing how they first met, I don't think it was the worst thing in the world either. Plus, it's a TV show; they have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like as the audience, you already understand where their friendship is. Don't need to show everything.
I mean, I wouldn't say they showed everything.
I
They didn't
know,
show like their
but
secret handshake.
yeah, and they made that terrible joke. Avocado sounds like a certain Spanish word. I forget what it was.
Abogados is the
Yeah,
Spanish
lawyer,
word for
right?
lawyer.
Lawyer. Yeah, that was bad. That was like Avengers humor. Other things that I want to say I didn't like, but we compared Ben Affleck to this Daredevil with him acting blind, and honestly, because this is the first time I watched it, they acted sort of the same with how they portrayed being blind. Charlie Cox is a way better actor, and I think he has a way better material and way better everything in this.
Oh my, you're still
in this-
defending Ben
I'm just
Affleck?
saying because when I was editing the last video, Daniel was saying something like he didn't move his eyes, and it felt like Ben Affleck did, and he mostly had glasses on, and he had glasses on too in this. But I think what was distracting in the Affleck one is that he had what's it called, contact lenses that were distracting. I think that's what was more weird in that one. He had like blue or gray contact lenses to show that he's blind. I don't know, but Charlie Cox is great. I just wanted to say that because they're both they both treated being blind. They acted the same.
It's hard for me to even compare it just because
Not the way they're acting, just the way they're acting blind. Because Charlie Cox was way better than stiff Affleck. He's charismatic. Everything else was fine. Just like the acting blind was the same. Honestly,
look, if you want me to concede this, I could say, well, we have more chances to see him blind because it's a TV show.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I could concede that, but he's also just doing a better job at being blind.
And I think also, as we said, everything around him too is a lot better because you have actual Foggy, you have actual Karen, who's not a cameo. Even though I thought Fisk looked a little silly, Vincent D'Onofrio, he looks like he can't beat anybody up in that big puffy suit, but he's fine.
I think he was actually fat, so
Really?
I think he gains. Well, I
Yeah,
remember
I think he
saw
did put
something
on
for-
weight.
I saw for Born Again that he actually would put on the weight, then he'd have to lose it. But then he said for Born Again, they just gave him a fat suit.
Well, he's also not up there, but I think he's in his 70s now, or almost 70.
Definitely
Really?
being in his 60s.
He's not a young man.
His
Oh, he's
face doesn't look-
65. He's 65.
Say his face doesn't look that old.
Well, this was 10 years ago. Well, they probably shot this
He
in
was
2014.
boy.
He was
Well,
54.
I was also been watching Born Again, so
Oh, I
still
haven't,
looks.
I haven't watched any of that yet.
I'm saying he doesn't look like his face isn't super wrinkly where you think, oh, like
He looks good for.
Clint
He's aged well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, how do we know any of the Hollywood plastics? We don't know.
Eastwood. Yeah, sure, maybe, but
But I thought he was good too. Even though I thought just on how jacked, it was funny how jacked the other Kingpin was. That guy was ripped. That guy was a mountain too. But obviously, by default, everything in this movie is or not movie. Everything in this show is better than the movie, and I kind of did get used to Daredevil's rinky-dink costume, the black Under Armour sleeves and the headband. How did
The
he
man in
never
the
think?
mask.
Yeah, how did he never think to wear anything other than an Under Armour long sleeve?
Well, it's not like they were rolling in money.
Yeah, but at least I don't know, layer up or something. He had Craig. He's running around in an
Yeah, it's
Under
cold at
Armour.
night.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
he
love the black
bandaged up.
suit.
He bandaged up his hands at least. I thought also for Daredevil, just some of the stuff they put him through, like getting violently stabbed repeatedly,
Oh,
and then he's
the
fine the
Nobu
next
fight?
day. Yeah, I thought that was a little much. He's
I
not.
mean,
He's
he
not a
always took time to
superhuman.
recover.
Craig, you can't. That's like a.
Okay. Obviously, he would die. I'm not going to defend that, but it wasn't like he got up and did like a neck crack and said, "Ugh, love the smell of copper in the morning," and walked away.
I didn't hear no bell.
No, I'm just saying it. I got a chuckle out of me how he'd just get violently stabbed and he'd be he'd be hurt, but then he'd be back in action in like a couple weeks. But that's just obviously a TV show thing.
Because it was kind of funny too. Like every time you get beat up in the face, it's like, "Oh, I just fell down the stairs."
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah,
It
I was
sounds
a
like
watcher. I
battered
walked.
housewife.
Oh my god. Yeah, you think Matt is a hoarder and his house is just full of things where he could just trip and run into corners.
Like for some reason, the apartment complex he in doesn't have an elevator, so he's always taking the stairs and he's always messing up.
Yeah, that was funny. And I think this one also handled him thinking about he's not the bad guy way better than the movie, because as you talked about in the movie, watching someone get run over in front of you by a train is pretty evil, and you taunt them. So at least in this one, it feels earned and it makes more sense. And he's actually trying to do good.
Well, yeah, especially with the Foggy episode where we find out why he started doing it. Also, he
Yeah.
secretly likes it, but
Well, yeah. He likes beating up bad people. I mean, Batman likes to do that too. At least Daredevil beats them up pretty bad, and they don't. I think he said that guy who was doing some ungodly things to his daughter, he beat him up so bad they said he was drinking out of a breathing, or he had a tube in his throat for a whole month. I think they said
Yeah,
in the
he
show.
said that he ate through a straw for the next
That's what
month.
it was, he
And I never
ate.
slept, and I never slept better. I always love that little line.
But I think what's the difference between Daredevil and Batman is that Daredevil's beating up people that you kind of wish you could. Not like in a power fantasy, but you wish these people would get justice. The guy abusing
Yeah.
his daughter, you wish you could beat him. Like if you were
Yeah.
close to the girl, you wish you could beat that guy up. And
Well, he
put him
wasn't
in the
even
hospital.
close. Daredevil just hearing it, and he's like, I'm just gonna.
No, but I'm
destroy
saying
this
like
guy."
say you knew
Oh,
the
yeah,
girl,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you wish you could
Yeah.
beat that guy up. So that's why I feel like Daredevil's struggle makes more sense. It's something I feel like we want to do. I think that's why when he clashes with the Punisher, it's a good contrast. It's like that thin line between like trying to get justice, get vengeance versus taking a little too far. Batman, it doesn't really work as well. Joker's, terrorizing, murdering, raping people. Daredevil is dealing. Daredevil's on a more smaller scale with like I guess quote unquote realistic threats. I mean, Batman fights the Joker who bombs Gotham every other week and he's like struggles to kill him. This
Yeah,
guy abusing his
He
daughter.
fights a guy named Mr. Freeze.
Well, this is a slight tangent. I'm sure maybe someone has tallied this. How many people has Batman inadvertently killed because he couldn't stop the Joker? Out of all Joker's been around since 37, 38, 39?
Depends, I guess you'd say, if you'll be fair, what continuity and everything, but
Well,
still,
I
it's a
think
very large
tallying
number.
everything is fair enough because the same Batman in different continuities keeps making the same mistake. It's a multiverse of failure for Batman.
Oh no, more multiverse stuff.
What else did you guys like about this show, season 1 only?
Well, I know I mentioned last episode that I didn't think Ben Affleck was a good Matt Murdock. I think he's a great Matt Murdock.
Yes,
He's the
yes.
lawyer. The very first episode, you see him stick it to the cops immediately. You see him actually using his legal expertise. He knows the law. He tries to think of good arguments. Like the speech, and I think it was the third episode where he gets the guy off. Obviously did it, but he was able to be a good enough lawyer to get the guy off. Also, I think they bribed the jury, but let's assume he was a good enough lawyer.
Yes. I also think I don't know how his radar vision is in the comics. I don't know what it looks like, but I think this is way more toned down than whatever Blue Nightmare that was in the Affleck movie. Because in this one, they show that he says it's essentially everything is on fire almost. I can't imagine seeing or having the radar vision of Affleck That just seems like a nightmare. I would hate that. But at least this one, I don't know. It's more toned down.
I did like there was a nice touch that he is blind at the end of the day. Like because remember he can't read paper.
Yes, yes. Yeah, people have to
Because I think
describe
he
it.
was in a Nobu's lair. He was like he was trying to feel the paper to maybe get what was on it because he can't read. So
Yeah, because I think it's just if
oh,
his radar sense does bounce off of flat
physical
surfaces.
objects, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not good enough to read ink on paper.
Yeah, it's
Maybe you could
just
touch it, I guess. But
yeah. So I thought that was cool that it was definitely more toned down than whatever that was in the Affleck one
yeah, because I think you saw a quick picture. It was with
with the lady.
Claire.
Claire,
Yes, with
yeah.
Claire.
That's all you really need. You don't need to see the exact details because I feel like that kind of loses some of the mystery. You already see him fighting people. You really need to see how it works. You can clearly fight and stuff and have the radar sense.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of Stick?
I think it was fine
Is he a
in
comic
season
character
one.
too?
Yeah, he trains him. He
That
was
actually
also
happens
from
in the
that.
comics.
Yeah, I think he was also created in the 80s, I think with Electro.
Mhm.
Because most Daredevil adaptations these days are based off the
He was pulling
80s
from.
run.
You know, he looked ridiculous in his original design.
Well,
The
they
white,
changed
the,
that
the
pretty
yellow and
quickly.
red. Oh, did they?
Yeah, that was only for like what 10 issues.
So who did he fight in the original? Was it just Bullseye in his original comic run before the 80s? Or in Kingpin, I'm
It's,
assuming?
well, Kingpin came out in the late 60s because he was originally a Spider-Man villain. I'll be honest, I never read many early Daredevil comics. I have the
Oh,
first issue. I have that book that's all the first
right.
issues.
Yeah, 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 I remember.
But I've never actually read early Daredevil comics. Because remember when he fought Namor, because I know Daniel has that comic, he was wearing the red
Mhm.
suit.
And that was
He
early.
fought Namor? That's an unfair
Yeah,
Well,
he
fight.
obviously
well,
win.
there's probably a lot of low, unmemorable villains he fought probably in his
Like
early run.
Stiltman.
Did he fight someone named the Owl? Something like that.
The Owsley guy who was supposed to be the Owl, but he was an old
Yeah.
man, so they killed him.
Yeah, why did they even do that? Why did that guy just be some old accountant?
Well, I think his son was. I don't remember if this was planned or I just read something online where I think his son was maybe thinking of becoming the Owl, but things changed. Plus, I think he might have been too silly. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a realistic quote unquote take. It's all about the Kingpin fighting crime bosses and mafiosos.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go from human traffickers and mobsters to some guy named the Owl running around.
Yeah, in an owl suit.
It could be done right. They
Oh,
would
I
just
don't
have to-
disagree, but I think the world, the version of Daredevil they were creating, I don't know if there was room for him.
Well, again, that kind of contrasts this gritty, realistic to the being under the umbrella of the MCU. I think
I was
that's
gonna
probably the biggest thing that's always in the back of my head is just I wish this was in something else. I wish it was its own thing, its own contained
But
universe.
it doesn't really conflict with the MCU. Like it's out of the Avengers' reach. They only make a few passing references.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the violence it doesn't match. And I'm sure
Violence.
Born Again is probably the same kind of tonal whiplash.
Well, unless you mean like kids can't watch this.
Yeah, hey, mommy, I want to watch Daredevil. Oh my God, he's breaking that guy in half.
Because that I can understand. People like to think this is strictly for adults when obviously it's meant for a younger. I think the target audience is usually teens, young,
Yeah. Because a teenage boy would probably appreciate a dude getting his head taken off with a car door.
Yeah. Or seeing someone rip the rib out of a dead man and use it to break out of prison.
Well, maybe like Marvel in general. It's more for the young, child, teen audience, the early young adult. It's not meant for because a lot of people they get mad when things aren't made for them. I'm okay that it's not necessarily the target audience, but I guess we are for this show. But I still liked it.
Yeah, I liked the show. It was fun. It was good. I know you guys years ago said that season 1 is the best. And I don't know if I'm going to continue because I personally could care less about Punisher. I could care less about his plight. I also did not care about Kingpin's plight and his backstory either. I don't care what your upbringing is. You're doing terrible things. I could care less what happened.
Yeah, because I know. What
I
you're
think
saying.
in his backstory, they don't try to justify him, really. It's more of they just show him how he became what he is. He's still that awkward kid, but he does brutal things.
See, that's when again a backstory. I know that it came in this instance. It came into play because then Ben and Karen would talk to Kingpin's mother, and then Kingpin finds out through his mother, and he strangles Ben Urich to death. I didn't think he was going to die this season. I had no idea. I was like, that's a
Yeah,
pretty
that was-
important character just to kill off 12 episodes in your season
Yeah,
one.
that was actually a big shock, right? They killed Ben Urich, one of
Yeah.
the bigger Daredevil supporting characters. So he's a reporter, so I thought he was kind of justified.
Then let's be honest, in terms of Kingpin, I would understand. That guy would probably be annoying. He'd be annoying me too. This guy's trying to out you.
I would now he's just a reporter sticking his nose in things he shouldn't be. Well, I know, but going back to the Kingpin, I know you're saying they were trying to. I I can agree to an extent they were trying to sympathize him a bit, not to the point where you would justify his actions,
Oh yeah.
but
Didn't go that far.
what's the point of it? I guess you feel a little bad for him. But like I said, there's a certain extent that I could extend my
Yeah.
mercy for him. Yeah, you have to kill his father. That's kind of messed up, but doesn't really justify
What you're
everything else that he
doing
did.
now, yeah, taking people's heads off. Trying. He beat up his own bodyguard when Wesley died. Well, speaking of that too, Karen gets her hands dirty. Is Foggy gonna shoot somebody in seasons 2 and 3?
I wish.
Oh, spoiler. He doesn't. He's a coward.
Senor Foggy is perfecto.
Yeah, I was genuinely shocked that Karen killed that guy. I don't know why that guy was so stupid. Why would you have you have the gun near you, not in the middle of the table? What is wrong with you?
Well, then he looked away, right?
Yeah, but the gun was still in the middle of the table. Why
Yeah,
would he
well,
do that?
no one said these guys were geniuses.
I don't know. The way he was talking, he sounded like not a genius, but he
Competent,
knew some stuff. I don't know. But Karen gets her hands dirty, so I wonder when Matt is going to tell Karen his secret identity.
Well, you'll find out soon enough.
It's season 2.
But I wanted to say this because me and Dan have seen season 2 and 3, and I think
Mhm.
one of the biggest differences between the other two seasons, which actually not a big difference, but it always annoyed me, was this first season actually felt like a normal TV show. Episodes had a beginning, middle, and end. I guess that's more of a Netflix thing to get people binging, but seasons 2 and 3, episodes wouldn't really end. It would just start the beginning of the next episode. So it kind of forced you to watch the next episode.
Oh, that's lame.
Always leave episodes on a cliffhanger. This didn't really do that as much.
That's lame.
I hate because now every time something's on streaming, it always has to end on the cliffhanger to get you to come back next, keep watching. It's like I'm going to keep watching, but don't try to force me to
Well,
do
at
it. It
least
always
it's not
annoyed
like
me.
Disney
Yeah.
Plus where you have to wait a week. So I guess
see-
that's not the end of the world. It's just more annoying.
Yeah.
Well, other shows because I remember.
Yeah, got you there.
No, I'm saying like it was more Netflix shows. When they release the whole season at once, they make it and every episode on a cliffhanger to make you keep watching. Disney Plus, I don't.
I understand that, Craig. I'm just saying, at least it's not like Disney Plus where it's like a cliffhanger, and
Well,
then you
from
have
what
to
I've
wait a
seen
week.
in Daredevil Born Again, I haven't finished this episode or season 1, but episodes really haven't been left on. Actually, they have been a little bit.
Yeah,
But not to the point where it was as bad as Daredevil season 2 and 3. From what I remember, I haven't rewatched those lately, but
Yeah.
it was never as bad as that.
see that now. The thing is, for
Yeah.
me, I don't know if I want to watch season 2 or 3, especially because you guys said it's not nearly as good as season 1, and
Well-
I could care less about Punisher. I don't really like
Well,
him.
there's also a lot of other things that happen in between seasons 1 and 3. If you're just to jump to 3, because you also have the entire
Elektra.
well, not even that Punisher, Elektra, the entire Defenders set up because the
Oh,
Defenders
we saw that.
end,
I remember. I saw that.
and that goes into season 3.
Yeah,
That's how
I
season 3
don't care about
begins.
that stuff. The Defenders. That
Well,
was
that
bad.
was-
You know,
that-
me and
that
Dave
was not
actually
done.
watched it. You know,
Yeah, that was not.
No, I was
handled
there with
well
you
at
guys
all.
when you watched that. We watched that together. The Defenders when it came out.
to be honest, I disliked it so much. I'm trying to block it out.
I am the immortal
Yeah.
Iron Fist, and someone says,
Oh.
"Yeah, save it."
Well, season 2 is split into 2 parts. The first part was
Yeah.
dealing with the Punisher and how he's the dark mirror to Daredevil. That was the good part. The bad part was once he gets captured and has to go to jail, they bring in
Whoa,
Elektra.
You said
Yeah,
you don't want to
you
watch
can
it.
say, yeah.
Then they bring in Elektra and deal with the hand stuff. Remember the
Yeah.
Nobu guy? It was the entire just a couple episodes about Nobu in the Black Sky, and it was terrible.
Nobu's
explain-
coming back.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
spoiler.
He came back in the Defenders.
I you know that we saw that in 2017. It's 2025.
Well, this is where things started getting weird and started getting out of Daredevil's jurisdiction.
The hand made me angry because the more we talked about it, the more everything made less sense, and it would just make me angry because
Yeah.
they're trying to be mysterious, but they're not explaining anything. Like, oh, the Black Sky is this horrible, evil creature, dies immediately with an arrow in its chest. Daredevil, apparently Elektra's one, Daredevil easily kills her. It's like, I don't understand why is this thing I'm so afraid of.
Well,
And,
Elektra-
the hand of the,
Yeah.
Didn't she quote unquote die at the Defenders?
She
was,
dies
trapped-
again.
No, she dies. She dies in Daredevil season 2,
Oh my god!
and then
she
gets
almost
resurrected
died.
as the Black Sky in the Defenders.
she
Well,
died
this is where
again.
things. Well, this is where things got so out of hand because you go from Daredevil trying to stop the Punisher mowing down gangsters, and then their trial to then now you're dealing with Elektra, the Hand, and the Black Sky, and and then you poorly put together this Defenders team, which
it's not about the
which share. Well, it's not even that, but the Defenders share nothing at all with the actual Defenders in the comics. Completely different. But unless I guess they were taken off a new iteration, Craig.
I guess corporate synergy. I think they redid the Defenders team to be the Netflix team because none of them were obviously on the original Defenders team.
Yeah. Back to the original point, the Punisher and Daredevil. If they had just focused on that for season 2, it would have been a lot better. In hindsight, going back now, I didn't like Stick and them introducing the Black Sky at all. Because I think the Hand, they
This
wanted...
has nothing to do with season 1.
You asked us about season 2 and 3.
That's why I said in hindsight now, that's one of the few things I don't like about season 1 is them introducing the Hand. Because I think Daredevil fits just more in... Like Spider-Man, for the most part, contained in their little area. When you start bringing in then Black Sky...
All I know is Luke Cage would be the perfect kryptonite to Punisher, because Punisher is just shoot guy, and not Nick Cage. Luke Cage is bulletproof.
No, Nick Cage.
After your mic.
Yeah. I know you're getting strangled. Did I say Nick? I meant Luke Cage.
I really would.
It looks
Anyway,
like you're calling from the bottom of a well.
But I know from Marvel's and Alliance trivia, Luke Cage is bulletproof.
Yes.
So how could he would mow down Punisher? He would kill him in like that. I never understood.
Craig, your mic is
still can't hear. I never understood the appeal of the Punisher. He just seems like the kind of guy Zack Snyder would.
Well, that's why he works more with someone like Daredevil or Spider-Man, where he needs someone to contrast him. Personally, by himself, he's not appealing to me. Where he just, you wronged him, he's gonna gun you down. It's more appealing when you have someone like Daredevil trying to stop him, who has a moral code, and is still,
Not really, though. Not even... Daredevil's a hypocrite, too.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He beats up these people so badly. He's a lawyer doing the most illegal things, too.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
Craig, I have 13 episodes of proof.
Oh, yeah? Send it to the cops.
13 tapes.
Listen, he's not taking people's lives. I understand that. But as a lawyer, he knows the law. And I'm sure he's a criminal prosecutor, too. So he knows he's racking up all those assault and battery charges.
You have to understand,
kidnapping.
This goes more into Daredevil season 2, where he contrasts. Yeah, I beat them probably to an inch of their life, but it gives them a chance to, while they're nursing their injuries, it gives them a chance to rethink their lives.
Oh no, I didn't. I understand that. I'm just saying he's not that much better.
Well, he doesn't kill them.
I know, but still.
Because if you aren't going to watch season 2,
I don't care about Punisher.
I was going to say is season 2, episode 3 is one of the best episodes of the entire show, though. It's where Craig, you remember where Punisher captures him, and then they're having the dialogue on the roof, and then the hallway fight. You think this hallway fight in season 1 was great? This one topped it. It was like that one on steroids.
So speaking of the hallway fight,
mm-hmm.
What did you think of it? Because I remember it was a big deal when it came out.
I was surprised it happened so early in the series. Everyone talked about it. That I imagined it would be towards the end as a big kind of set piece, but I think it was in episode 2 towards the end that happened. And I was thinking, it happens now. It was good.
Because I remember it also came out, I think, right before Winter Soldier 2, where I guess better fight scenes were coming out. And yeah, the one take was
This
great.
came out after Winter Soldier.
Did?
Winter Soldier came out in 2014.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. But still, just, the better, I guess, Marvel fight scenes. I don't know, it was like such a big deal. Like most TV shows don't really have the best fights. So the fact that this actually had a really good fight was kind of impressive.
I think that has to do with the quality of TV shows isn't what it used to be. Now everything is cinematic quality for TV shows where they have... I'd be curious to know what the budget is per episode for this show, but it's not how it used to be where in the 90s...
Oh, yeah.
Imagine Star Trek, let's say the Next Generation, production quality compared to the production quality of the movies. Obviously the show is better, but I'm just saying like the production quality. Because then the last season come out in 94 and then you had Generations that same year. So it's that the quality was different back then. I thought the fight was fine. I had to look up to make sure it was one take because I was like, maybe that's a hidden cut there. Maybe, but no, it said it was done in one take.
With his binoculars trying to...
Yeah, because there's a couple of suspicious whip pans they had. And usually when you have those whip pans and shadows, that's where you hide the cuts.
I'm picturing Colin like an old coach watching film, taking notes.
Yeah, I turn up my brightness and I go back so I could see. But no, it was good. It looked good. Again,
Good answer.
I didn't think it was going to happen so early. I thought it happened towards the end.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
Did you have a particularly favorite moment of the season or episode?
Oh, favorite moment.
Right, episode if you want. And the moment could be.
All the episodes. This isn't a bad thing. All the episodes are kind of the same. So I don't know.
Which can be a good thing when they're done right.
Yeah, there wasn't like a best one, but there wasn't a worst one. They all were the same quality.
See, I have an easy answer.
Is that the last one where he? But you said the first two though.
I've always say the first two because I feel like that's almost, I don't know, I like to tie them together. It's like his intro, then like you see him getting hurt, and almost like it's almost like a good movie, right? Where he's starting out, he gets really injured, almost dies, then finishes the job and saves the boy.
Right.
It's a really good 2 hours. I love it.
I did like the ending fight of the first episode where him and the dude fight in the apartment and they tackle each other onto the alley.
And you hear the water, like the
I like how it
chains
slows it down
clanking.
for him. Just because I really like the sixth episode, the hostage one, where he was in the abandoned warehouse with the Russian.
Yeah.
And then him and Fisk have the talk over the walkie-talkie. Even though that one's not as action-packed until the very end, but I always just genuinely enjoyed that one.
Imagine if Daredevil had Spider-Man's powers. If I was in Daredevil's position with those Spider-Man powers, I'd be talking so much smack to Kingpin.
If you're in Spider-Man's powers, you'd be trapped. You could have easily just jumped out and escaped.
Oh yeah, he could have just ripped that thing open, and he would have skedaddled out of there. Well, what's that one gif of Spider-Man doing that sky kick to that lady? She's like, "No, Spider-Man, I'm just a single mother to try to support my daughter." Spider-Man, it's from that video game.
Oh, where he
Spider-Man
takes
does
his
that
leg and
flipping kick in the air, and his foot hits the back of her skull. Well,
That's what you get for shoplifting those 2 oranges.
Yeah, that's what you get for stealing a loaf of bread. What was I going to say?
Oh, well, I have a thought.
Oh yeah, you go, Craig. Maybe I'll come back.
I thought it was kind of funny how the very first episode begins almost like the movie, showing how he got his powers. Granted, it wasn't 20
It wasn't
whole long
nearly
minutes.
as over the top as it was.
Well, I did kind of get a chuckle rewatch. It was like, huh, there's just like the
that's
movie.
the thing we were saying about the movie, that the movie has a season's worth of storylines stretched into an hour and 40 minutes. 2 hours and 13 with the extended cut. It's because on the surface level, this tells the movie has the fall of Kingpin and how they find out how to stop him. And this show has that too. But this one had, I mean, the dialogue is way better in the show.
My sense of sound gave off a kind of radar sense.
But it had the time to tell everything properly instead of just speed running through it like the movie did. Yeah, the 20 minutes, I think it was, because I actually went back and counted, it was 20:41 of the opening for Daredevil's backstory in the movie. But yeah, the similarities in the beginning did also get a little chuckle out of me. But we didn't have young Daredevil beating up AJ Soprano and doing a backflip without any running start. It was missing that, Craig.
It was. That's why it's a terrible TV show. 0 out of 10.
And there was no Bring Me to Life 2 playing as Matt is suiting up. That's
Something
what
I
this
liked
needed.
about the show. Now, it might be really cringy to say this, but the way
Oh,
he
boy.
took down all the like major bosses of the crime, like the major crime bosses, almost felt like a video game. Like he was slowly like going through the level, taking out the boss. Excuse me for saying that, but that's what it kind of felt like. He takes out the Russians, then he's working on the Japanese and Nobu. Then he kind of deals with Madame Gao. Then he finally gets to the Kingpin and the accountant, trying to take down all the major heads of the crime in Hell's Kitchen.
Well, that's just a strategic thing to do.
Well, I don't think he was doing it strategically. He was just trying to cause trouble and was slowly taking apart their operations.
That's strategic.
I don't know if he had much strategy, but why do you think he kept getting injured every night?
Because he's blind? I don't know. Is it just a guy doing it?
Well, what I mean is like it felt like the sense of progression in the first season. You could see him like actually making a difference, slowly making progress, taking all the major operations.
Yeah. It'd be kind of funny by the end of season 3, his face is all permanently messed up from all the punches he took to the face.
He's got like the wrestler's ears, what do they call it, cauliflower ear?
Yeah, cauliflower ears. His hands are essentially broken. And then his face is always puffed up now because of just, I don't know, just getting punched in the face repeatedly.
Like, how does a blind man get beat up all the time?
All the people in New York just see him with the walking stick. They just shake their heads and they just chase him and beat him up.
Yeah, kick him. Get him, he can't see.
What did you guys think of his costume at the end?
I didn't care for it as much.
Yeah.
I didn't like the black accents on it. I think the pure
I-
red
I-
is Daredevil's thing.
But the way the show set up in the first season, I had become very...
The Under Armour costume.
The Man in the Mask.
Well, it was so popular, they brought it back for season 3 because they knew everyone liked it so much.
I know.
It looked almost pink to me. That's why I didn't really like it.
Did it? I didn't think it looked
Not
pink.
pink, or it didn't look like a solid red, like the comic
Yeah,
red
well,
that he
it
has.
was.
Yeah.
It was also they had black on it too. I didn't like the black on it.
So even the red wasn't the right color.
It looks like that costume from Marvel 2 Alliance 2, Daredevil's alternate. Because I think it had some black around his face too, and I do like the body armor because I think we talked about that how superhero costumes now have a practical body armor because that would make sense. Because I know in the comics their logic was you could see these people are so ripped that you could see their abs and their big pectoral muscles through their thin costume. So I think obviously body armor is practical.
So
But
I said
you
it
go.
looks pink, but it looks more purpley or just not the bright red. And you could say, well,
I
trying
see
to be
the Born Again
realistic.
costume. It looks terrible. I think you're thinking of the Born Again one, Craig.
No,
It is
no.
bright red.
No, I'm thinking season 1. Season 1's not bright.
Oh yeah, I see season. Oh yeah, I guess you know what it is, Craig. It's probably the lighting reflecting off of it.
I know I said pink, but I'm
Kind of looks like
right
maroon.
as holes. Yeah, it looks like almost like it's getting to a purple. It's not at purple, but it's getting towards purple.
Is that really his Born Again costume? That is terrible. That actually looks really bad. Is that what he wears the rest of the series?
I haven't seen much of Born Again yet, so I can't comment or speculate.
Do you want me to say it? Because I've seen it.
You gotta say if he wears it the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's the bright red.
Yeah, but what was it in She-Hulk? Didn't he go to his more classic coloring?
He
His
did.
original coloring?
I couldn't tell you.
No, look it up. I think.
No, he wears the
Yeah, he
yellow
did.
and red.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's in She-Hulk.
But as I said last week, I thought I liked the Affleck costume aside from the leather, but I thought they had the right color. I don't know. Maybe this one is better, the Affleck one, not because of its leather. I hate that Born Again costume. It looks terrible. It's like an over design, like Thor's design in Love and Thunder. It just looks terrible.
I feel like it's on. I think it's better than the season 1 suit. It's just not there yet. Like they could still haven't reached perfection yet. The best costume is still the black suit.
It's
because
just
so
too much
simple.
black on the red, and it's a bright red.
Well, I do like the brighter red. I don't like the
Really?
black accents.
I think it's too bright. The Born Again. I'm going to show pictures. I think that's too bright. Maybe it feels all red. Maybe
I mean, this suit is not comic because his comic book one is skin tight.
Well, that's how all
Yeah.
superhero costumes are. Where you could see their abs through, like piercing through their costume. Craig, do you have any other? What are your stream of thoughts going on?
Give me a sec.
He's still looking at costumes.
Oh, what did you think of Vanessa?
But no, oh yeah, she was whatever. She was fine.
I just think it's funny. He's almost like a big child, the Kingpin. Like the
Yeah.
first woman he talks to, like he falls in love with.
Well, she
Like,
puts
he
up with this
worships
stuff
her.
too.
Yeah, she's also a psycho.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I saw that he has her just out to dinner, and he's like, "You wanted me to show my real self," and they're just having this nice dinner, watching the city get blown up.
Yeah, that felt like that was out of Fight Club.
Was there anyone in this season you didn't like in the show that you just hated?
No, I don't think so. I think everyone was serviceable.
Did you hate Ben Urich?
He was all right. He just
Why
that
not,
annoying
Greg?
reporter.
He is. I think all reporters are annoying. Especially, again, there's the disconnect of how reporters act in real life and then TV show reporters.
Yeah, they kind of, what's the word? It's not romanticized, but they make them better than what they really are in shows. They're scum. Like they're terrible people in real life. They're annoying.
I'm just imagining, although these cops were crooked, episode 6 where they're doing a hostage situation, and the cops are trying to set up around it, and he's trying to, "Can you give me anything?" It's like, dude, we're dealing with a possible terrorist here. The city just got bombed. Shut up and let us
Maybe
do our job.
that's probably an accurate depiction of reporters. 'Cause they show up at the worst time, running their mouth.
Those know me is just the arrogance they have. Like they are owed an explanation. They are owed anything anytime they ask for something. Because I know in the context of the show, these are bad cops, and he's a quote unquote good guy in the logic of the show. So you think, oh, he's going to the bad cops, whatever he's doing is justified. But I agree with Daniel. In this context, sure, they are trying to kill Daredevil, a hero, but given that bombings are going off, I don't think a nosy reporter really warrants getting anything he wants at the moment.
Yeah, they would tell him to get out of there
Yeah,
immediately.
pound sand.
Touch grass, bro.
Or imagine a reporter trying to interview the cops while the first Avengers thing's going off. They're being invaded by aliens.
Well, not even that, too. Imagine any kind of real-world kind of hostage situation.
You've said the Avengers are saving New York, and reporters like, all right, man, do you have a moment? Cap, do you have a moment? What's going on?
Cap gets shot by that one alien. He falls to the ground. And the reporter says, Cap, can we get a statement on what's going on? Are the Avengers xenophobic? They don't like aliens. Now they're killing them.
God. Yeah, we're not big fans on.
What else are you cooking over there, Craig, in that skull of yours?
Not much. A lot of holes in there.
Oh.
But I know we kind of bashed the mystical side of Daredevil for a bit, but I did like, just for the brief moment where he was about to fight Madame Gao, like hit him pretty hard. You know, the old woman hitting, not expecting. But I like the fact that there is some mystery. Like even some of the stick stuff didn't bother me in the first season. I had to try to remind myself it's not season 2 and it's not season 3, so the stuff here didn't bother me as much. Because I feel like that's me and Dana. We're like on edge. We see that we almost get like PTSD from like all the hand stuff from being tortured in the Defenders in season 2.
Yeah,
like I cringe my neck. It's like I don't want to go through this again.
What is it, Craig, from A Clockwork Orange? We're going to make you watch season 2 and 3 back to back. We're going to keep your eyes open with.
No, season 3 of Daredevil is good.
Season 2. I'm going to make you watch season 2.
the second half of season 2 specifically.
0.5 speed. You're going to enjoy every second of it, and then you're going to watch the Defenders.
Yeah, it's after the
Then you
trial of
watch
Frank
She-Hulk.
Castle.
Yeah, literally the moment you're gonna show me the moment Electrica says hello Matthew. That's the moment I have to watch season 2.
That's to the edge of all the Defenders. You
We
have to
tie
watch.
Craig down and keep his eyes open.
That means, Craig, you have to watch Danny Rand, the Immortal Iron Fist, sworn
Defender
enemy of the
of
hand,
Kunlun.
defender of Kunlun. Even though he doesn't defend Kunlun, he gets beaten in hand-to-hand by Daredevil.
But I'm laughing because I know Colin's gonna, now that you're editing it, you're gonna have the picture of like photo.
Now that I've
Photoshop my
always
face.
edited it. What are you talking about?
Like you start putting pictures. Like, I
Oh,
know you
yeah,
can't
yeah,
you're gonna put my face, but like say Craig, and you're show my, like almost my face getting like, tortured.
I'll put your
Clockwork
address.
Orange. Yeah, my IP address. Show the back address.
And then after you're done watching She-Hulk, Craig, we'll make you watch Daredevil the
Where's
movie.
She-Hulk?
Well, I'll make you watch after that, and then I'll make you watch the Daredevil movie. And then this is a not a bit of a tangent, but since the guy who wrote and directed Daredevil the movie, he wrote and directed the first Ghost Rider. So I was going through clips of that, and oh my god, is that bad? I was just watching it, clips, and I don't know how it is bad. Maybe we could do an episode on Ghost Rider sometime soon. I don't know, but
Is this payback for me criticizing
No,
Affleck's blindness?
I was just, because I looked up the guy's
yeah.
filmography last week, and I was like, he did Ghost Rider, and then I was watching some of Ghost Rider, and then I started watching some of the second Ghost Rider. Ugh, but that guy didn't do the second one though. But I don't know who this guy is. I think it's Mark Steven Johnson. 0 for 2 on superhero movies. 0 for 2. I don't know how he got the second job. Let's just say that. I haven't even seen the clips of She-Hulk with Daredevil. I've only seen, and I use it so many times whenever we talk about the new MCU and how bad it is. I have that GIF on my editing timeline always of She-Hulk twerking.
Well, I was
I
thinking,
always use that.
if you were to tie Craig down and make him watch, it's just that on repeat for like 10 hours, just the twerking scene.
Oh my god! Probably noticed every single flaw in the CGI.
And then looped in at random points is her telling Bruce Banner that she has better anger management skills than him.
But what else about the show?
So I think Dino before mentioned favorite episode, but I think he also mentioned favorite scene. And I know we talked about it briefly, but my favorite scene was probably, not to pin at least one down at the moment, it would be the scene where he explains why he became Daredevil, like how he really wanted to beat that guy up.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
So you really feel from like, yeah, get that guy.
Yeah.
I know, just good stuff.
Craig goes out on the street, beats up a random dude just out of pure testosterone and adrenaline.
Except I'm not celebrate. I get arrested.
Craig tries to hop over a building. He slips and breaks his ankles, and the cops just beat him up.
Pulls a hamstring, misses the rest of the season.
The podcast season. No, I always think of that superhero movie where like, people can walk through walls. And if you think I could think through walk through walls, I just smash my face in the concrete wall.
That movie is great. I always like the one part where they're spoofing the first Spider-Man scene where he's walking, or not walking, he's crawling up the building, and he just starts breakdancing on the side of it.
Professor X had a new ride every single time
Yeah,
they showed him.
it was like riding a toilet at one point.
Barry Bonds.
Lay off those pills, Barry! Did he shoot laser beams from eating his steroid pills?
Yeah, I think it's like horse roids too. It was like different.
What else about the Daredevil Season 1 show?
Oh, I
My
just
brain
always,
is so scattered. It came back to me. Another reason why I didn't like Ben Urich. The whole side plot of him trying to get his wife medical care was very boring.
Well, she seemed like she was in an inoperable situation. She has some sort of Alzheimer's, I think. So there's not much you can really do,
Who cares
unfortunately.
about the side characters?
Oh, yeah.
Porter's wife.
I know,
I
Craig.
get it's sad. I'm not going to pretend like, oh, it's not a sad scene, but at the same time, what does this really serve? If you're going to focus on a character, you're focusing on our main three heroes, quote unquote, Nelson and Murdoch, and the Kingpin.
they only did that just so you would care when he got choked out by.
I didn't care. I was actually rooting for the Kingpin.
Yeah. Craig is probably watching it like a wrestling fan, pretending to do the moves at the dick. Yeah, get him. Just choked out Ben Urich.
He's holding up a sign as he's watching it in his own house.
Roll through the table!
How about the Kingpin like wrestling thing? I'm like, yeah, Kingpin.
Yeah. You just wear a big oversized suit. That's all the Kingpin fans wear at the wrestling tournament.
I will say though, I remember first watching Kingpin, and I think he's definitely more unique. You expected something more like the 2003 Kingpin, where he's just comically evil or cartoonishly evil. He's just laughing as he's choking out his guard up against
He didn't laugh. He was screaming.
And then you get this one who's, when he's not raging and slamming a dude's head with a car, he's like this awkward child. I just thought he's definitely more distinct from, especially at this time where you had Loki, who was comically evil, even though they tried to paint him off as justifiably or misunderstood. You had Hydra. Who else? Oh, Ivan Vanko. So I think Kingpin was definitely in the higher tier and established himself separate from the other ones, where he was more not only intimidating, but I definitely felt his personality was more distinct, where he was awkward, where he's talking with Vanessa and he can't get the words out.
Well,
I think
the thing also that separates him more from the other villains is that his plan
Well, they can
isn't
develop it,
evil
too.
per se. He's just
Yeah.
trying to redevelop Hell's Kitchen. And yeah, he is illegally getting people out of there because he's killing people and bribing. But it's not, I'm going to destroy the world and because I'm going to shoot a giant laser in the sky. Or I'm angry at you, and I'm angry at your dad, and I'm going to take my anger out on you. Even though I never met your dad.
Blow up the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow up this science fair or whatever. His, at least, is more grounded. And yeah, you don't agree with it because he's obviously getting people illegally out of there. He's killing people to secure the location so then he can give it to the Japanese people, whatever. It's not over the top plan. It's what's the word? A skeevy business plan. And that works in the grounded tone. Imagine Kingpin is trying to blow up, I don't know, do something like Bane's doing, trying to nuke the city or whatever. That'd be a little much.
But I think with Kingpin, especially at the time that the first season came out, I don't know if it's a fair comparison to Thanos,
No.
but I think they're more, not that they're justified or justifiable, but you could see they think what they're doing is right. Not saying how they're going about it is right, but what they think they're doing is noble in a way.
I mean, I guess.
Just it's a different scale. Thanos wants to.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. But
Yeah. Thanos wants to eliminate half of all life. Kingpin wants
yeah, he blew up a
business
block in
areas
Hell's Kitchen.
to expand and build. Not the same thing. You're close, but not quite the same.
But again, it's also more, I guess,
more realistic.
It's more grounded, yeah.
I didn't see the Stark Tower in the background of any shot.
I don't know if that was a budget issue. I could have sworn they said it was a. I remember it was a budget issue or a rights issue.
A rights issue?
I know Marvel owned the rights, but I think there was like a behind-the-scenes power struggle with like Marvel TV and Marvel Studios, the people that made the movies. They weren't getting along, so I don't know if there's going to be a fight between the two parties.
Well, I wouldn't get along either. I saw Jeff Loeb's filthy name on this thing.
Like, is that much to do with the success of the show?
I still saw his name, though, Craig.
Oh, so you don't like it now?
No.
0 out of 10.
I still saw his disgusting name. Filthy name.
Ugh, gives you the creeps.
What else we got on Daredevil Season 1, Craig?
It's definitely the peak of the Marvel Netflix shows.
Yeah,
It's kind of a shame.
guess it's not really at. I mean, it is and it isn't a high bar because season one is so good, but then even the rest of the series, from you guys telling me, it's not nearly as good as season one.
Yeah, pretty much goes downhill from here.
Yeah, I have no interest. But I guess I'll have to put together the pieces for Daredevil Born Again. I don't want to watch Elektra run around. I certainly don't want to watch Edgelord Punisher run around and kill people. I could care less for him.
See, the thing is, season 3 is definitely. I've had to rank them. At least the ones I've seen, it was Daredevil season 1's obviously the best. I think the second best would be Daredevil season 3 out of all the Netflix shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a power gap.
Yeah, because then they have Luke Cage, and they got Jessica Jones, and they got the Defenders, and they got Iron Fist.
And Punisher.
And Punisher.
Punisher,
Yeah.
2 seasons I saw on the Wikipedia. But anything else? Craig, do you have any other thing to say about the show?
I remember when the show came out, I know a common complaint was, Daredevil wasn't wearing his suit and the Kingpin didn't act like the Kingpin yet. They didn't say his name as the Kingpin. He was still Wilson Fisk. I know the writers said, well, this is kind of their origin story, how they become the monster. Well, how the Kingpin becomes the monster he becomes, how Daredevil becomes the hero. So I felt, okay, sure, he wasn't called the Kingpin, but
Well, it's like Daredevil, too. They didn't call him Daredevil until the end in the newspaper.
there were people who were in there like, oh, you have to wait till the last episode to see him in costume, or the red costume. And I was
But
like,
it's something you
I
gotta
think-
earn, I guess.
Also, the show was so good, it didn't bother me as much. It was like the first
Yeah.
episode he was established, but he didn't have the suit yet. It was him literally starting out to beat people with his fist the first time.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I don't care that they didn't call him the Kingpin. That's fine. It worked in the show.
Yeah, it was also, I guess, a bold move. They had Foggy find out his identity.
Yeah, as I said, they gave everybody something to do. Even Karen. And she even killed somebody, too.
I know a lot of people like Karen, but I can't fully like her because she becomes a reporter, so it definitely
That's
spurs
what
my
it is.
opinion on her.
I don't think you dislike her in season 1. It's what she becomes.
Well, she was egging on Ben Urich and trying to be a reporter, so that was
She kind
bothering
of did
me.
get Ben killed. He wanted to leave and take that other job.
Because she has the reporter instinct where she feels like she's owed all the answers and every bit of information. She went to that one lady, I think someone who died, or she helped get killed, and then they took the buyout from the contract, they took the money just to stay silent, and they told her to do the same thing. It would have made her life so much easier if she just took the money and ran. And I think she ended up doing it because they told her, like, please don't be stupid, they'll kill you if you don't take the money, so just take the money so you don't get killed. Reporters are the dumbest trope, and they're the dumbest people.
Well, Craig, then you have the opposite in the Daredevil movie, where, like that, Ben Urich was able to deduce that a blind lawyer was running around beating people up and grappling from buildings and whatnot.
You can do that, but he can't figure out the Kingpin is the Kingpin.
Yeah. Well, again, Craig, if you watch the director's cut, the person who got murdered was an informant to Ben Urich.
Why would I watch the director's cut? I didn't want to watch the theatrical cut.
Ben Urich was okay in the show. I do agree that they what's the word? They give reporters more respect in media and like TV shows and movies than what they deserve in real life. They're annoying.
I just the arrogance. It's always rubbed me the wrong way.
Then you have those really smart ones that know the laws and they can be extra annoying. God, you gotta watch out for those guys.
I know, Colin, you face them all the time.
No, well, I worked on this show in a city, and they had this one guy. I do know his name, but I don't want to say his name. But he would take pictures of TV show sets, and this guy knows the law, so he could go, since it's on public property, he would go around right in front of everybody, annoy people, annoy security, take pictures. Guy was annoying, and it's kind of like that reporter thing where if they know what they're doing, they can be really, really, really annoying. And this guy would taunt people too.
That's where you wish Daredevil would show up and just beat the guy up.
Well, he's not doing anything illegal.
I don't know, man. I would not mind seeing the guy get beat with an inch of his life.
Maybe at least destroy his camera. Maybe Daredevil can throw his Billy Kane.
Oh, like Spider-Man 3, take it, just swing it across.
Yeah.
See you, chump. Throughout the entire show, I really liked was the father Lantum.
Yes.
Well, he was good, yeah.
Yeah, like when he asked him, like, do you believe the devil? Like, was it the devil exists or evil exists? And he gives his answer.
He tells that story.
Yeah, like, yeah, it does.
Because he always remained one of the best supporting characters throughout the entire show.
Yeah, because I know Daredevil's supposed to be a Catholic in the comics, and they don't ever go probably as far as they could in a TV show, but it's at least nice that they're at least trying to pay some lip service towards it.
And also just always adds the depth to the character where he's going out seeking vengeance and then seeking forgiveness.
It's kind of crazy how the character was designed. It's probably an accident, but his name is Matthew. He's a Catholic who dresses as the devil. He's a vigilante who's a lawyer.
Craig, that was 100% done on purpose. I'm sure there's nothing accidental about that.
I don't know about all that.
Really? I feel like that's all by design.
I don't think so.
Really? Why have those details?
I don't think he was named Matthew because they thought they would name him after. I think a lot of it was just they liked the name, and I know Stanley always said that he liked to have characters.
Yeah, that is true. Reed
Names be
Richards.
illiterate.
Alliteration. Not literate. Idiot.
Because I remember looking into the background. I don't know if they really like they made the design decision, but I don't think they really thought it through as I guess we do now, or people interpret it now. They were just, yeah, here's the character dressed as the devil. Yeah, whatever. 'Cause I don't even know if his Catholicism was a big thing in the early comics.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I just looked up. Yeah, the Catholicism was became a thing in the 80s by that Frank Miller run.
Ah.
Was that part of the Born Again run? Because didn't that come out in the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading the Wikipedia because, like I said, I remember Wikipedia searching years ago and looking up how characters were created, how Daredevil again they weren't thinking all these things through, but became almost like a perfect character for drama. All these conflicting parts of his character and personality.
Yeah, because
No, just kind of
A happy accident.
yes.
Do we have any final thoughts on Daredevil Season 1 before I subject myself to watching Born Again this week?
It's only 9 episodes.
so far.
Well, for season 1, right? And then season 2 is another 9.
No, I think that's technically season 1. They're breaking up into 2 parts, 18 episodes total.
Well, we're reviewing the 9 episodes.
Yeah, whatever is out
Oh
by now.
no! We are gonna watch all 18.
Right, shut up and
Eventually.
give me your final thoughts, you goon.
It's just such a well put together first season.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can nitpick things, and you always be able to nitpick some things. But I just think overall, especially compared to what we get now, it's just a well put together season, and I could always go back and rewatch it.
All right, correct.
Before I give you my final thoughts, did you happen to catch that Carl Crusher Creel reference?
I don't remember.
The guy who his father fights Battling Jack Murdoch versus Carl Crusher Creel. That's the Absorbing Man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you always mention the Absorbing Man. I think when we were doing the Hulk. So I wasn't sure if you would catch that.
No, I did not.
Yes, the Absorbing Man.
I honestly don't even... My knowledge of the Absorbing Man is from the Hulk movie. That is it.
And Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
But he's only in the first one.
Yes, but you always reference that's where a lot of your Marvel
Yeah,
knowledge
that is
comes from.
true. That is true. I do play Marvel Ultimate Alliance a lot.
But as for my final thoughts, it was nice coming back to because it was a really, really good season. Like I said, I didn't really care for some of the more excessive violence and injuries. I think that was just them trying to appease Netflix and make it more mature. But it was a really good show. It's just almost a shame it doesn't really get better. You saw the peak. Highly recommend it.
That's why I have no desire to see the rest.
Season
of
3 is
the
at least
show.
watchable.
But yeah, it was good for a first-time viewer. It was good. I forgot to mention it did get a chuckle out of me. I think I mentioned it in the Affleck review. Him dropping that fire hydrant on that guy. No way that guy's alive. No way. That guy's dead. But
How do you know? Go on
Greg-
Mythbusters, test it out.
I think that can easily be proven that is true.
All right, go.
You want to go find out with me? Do you want to walk?
All right, let's go
down
find some. We'll go
two
find some
flights of
random Russian
stairs?
guy, and we'll
No,
drop that fire hydrant on
We'll
his
try it
head.
on you.
No, when you in your experiment, you have to recreate all the conditions.
Why does
of
that be
the
Russian? What kind of
It has
variable
to
is
be
that?
a Russian guy.
What kind of variable is that?
He dropped on a Russian guy. You have to get a blind man to drop a fire
Oh,
hydrant
you're
on a
a
Russian guy.
clown. But yeah, it was good. I liked it, and I'm not really looking forward to Born Again, but I guess I haven't seen any of it yet. But by this time next week, that will change. So with all
Awesome.
that being said, what?
Side note, you guys were right. The first season's only 9 episodes because they originally had planned an 18-episode season, but it got split into 2.
Okay.
So
with all of that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
and I'm back.
And we will continue our last part of our Daredevil review next week.